Well, if we're going to see the country reindustrialising, which I think is essential to get the economy rebalanced, we've got to have an exchange rate which makes it profitable to invest in light industry. And I think that's somewhere around about $1, maybe $1.05.
Now, because we've had an overvalued currency for some time, we've tended to regard lower cost manufacturing as not being possible here in the UK. But if you have a significant adjustment in the currency, as we are seeing, then it makes a reassessment of the outlook become more relevant.
Well, what's happened to manufacturing in this country is that it's fallen from being almost a third of GDP as late as 1970 to being less than 10% now. And this has happened partly because interest rates and monetary policy in this country has been so tight, and partly because we've sold off huge quantities of assets, which has pushed the exchange rate way too high.
Part of the reason why it has been so high for so long is that the UK has had for years a policy of selling its companies, its rail franchises, its harbours, its airports, its utilities, and its housing, to foreign interests on a scale unmatched by any other developed country in the world.
Now, the UK is unique in the way it's sold off assets to enable us to enjoy a standard of living which is more than we're actually earning. And over the last few years, we've sold off our ports and airports, we've sold off our rail franchises, our football clubs, our chocolate factories, everything to enable us to carry on living beyond our means. And this can't go on.
So the only way to get our economy rebalanced, to increase investment, to enable us to reindustrialise and pay our way in the world, to stop running up debts, to get the economy to grow fast enough to raise real wages and to produce much better jobs, especially outside London and the South East, is to make manufacturing industry pay again. And this is almost entirely an exchange rate issue.
I did take the view that the collapse of manufacturing in the early 80s was an absolutely shocking mistake in this country. And that was partly because the exchange rate was so disgustingly and disgracefully overvalued. But having said that, I think that I actually do take the point that it's a good idea to try and increase manufacturing as a percentage of GDP. Question, how do you do it?
There's plenty that we can execute to make sure that this happens. First of all, we can make it more difficult for foreign interests to buy property in this country by using the tax system, perhaps by charging people quite high sums of money if they buy property in this country and keep them unoccupied. We can get the Bank of England to take a different attitude than it has up till now. By and large, the Bank of England has tended to try to keep the pound up rather than keep it down. We need to get that reversed. Maybe we should have a withholding tax to make it less attractive to hold assets in this country. But above all, I think what we need to do is to have a government which is prepared to realise that we need a competitive exchange rate and that runs the country in a way that keeps it there, make it very clear that that's their settled policy to keep it at a level which is competitive. And this is no more than lots of other countries in the world do. It's not an extraordinary policy to pursue that nobody else has done. It's what successful countries throughout the world actually do to make sure that their economies remain competitive.